I'm back in my purple magic room with my Shriyantra in the background. I'm so excited to be back home. As you know, I travel quite a bit, and I have to say, I do enjoy traveling, but I also enjoy coming back to my place, to my things, to my stuff. And so I'm so excited to be back at home, and I had some amazing um, coaching calls today. I've had some wonderful conversations, and I was feeling really inspired about creating a new video for this group where I'm going to be talking about the 5 pillars of power of feminine magnetism. And the way that I will be going through this is actually I will sort of pick and choose one thing of the 5 body blueprints. So I actually break down the 5 body blueprints like completely in my Cosmic Goddess program, but I really want to do like a juicy little nugget, like, for those of you who have been through the Cosmic Goddess, like almost as a little upgrade for yeah, the course, but also I want to just share some of these pieces with some of you who haven't been through the Cosmic Goddess program, and you might actually be really curious about what the 5 body blueprint actually is and how it pertains to our feminine magnetism and why it's important and all that stuff. So I just want to do a very quick like review, aka an introduction to this. And so the way I'm going to be talking about this is I will sort of like pick out of the 5 body blueprint. So the 5 body blueprint is just a concept or like a map that I've come up with to teach women how to walk themselves through activating their feminine magnetism. And basically, it's connected with the 5 different bodies that we have. So we have the physical body, we have the emotional body, there's the mental body, there's the energetic body, and there's the cosmic body or the spiritual body, which is sort of connected with your soul. And so the way that I teach this in the Cosmic Goddess program actually is that every single body actually has a very specific patron, if you will, or a very specific archetype that you can activate with specific feminine energy tools. But today I just really want to briefly touch upon each of them in order to, just teach you a little bit about feminine magnetism and what it actually is and why feminine magnetism is so important, especially in a world that usually teaches manifestation and teaches the spiritual topics very much on the masculine energy-based theories, where actually what happens is that all the energy that we have in our physical body actually gets drawn up into our mental level, and so we conceptualize things, we can understand things, we see things, we even receive visions and all of that, but we don't fully like bring them all the way back down into our physical body. So it's almost like sometimes women who haven't got their feminine magnetism activated, there's nothing wrong with you. It's simply that there's just this awareness piece that you may have not received yet. And so this is what my stuff is all about. It's about bringing all the things that you're actually receiving from the outer world and bringing it all the way down into the embodiment level, because the embodiment level is really where everything is linking up with the universe in the highest and best way, and it's also the most organic way. But obviously, sometimes what it is as well is that it's very counterintuitive, because, as I said, most of the teachings that we receive in the spiritual world or in the spiritual community are very much masculine based, meaning they're really drawing your energy up into the mental level, and it kind of stays there. And so this is when women have been going, for example, through tons and tons of spiritual work. They've done hundreds of courses, they've worked with coaches, they've worked with people. But it seems like, there's a gap between where they are at mentally in their understanding and what is actually coming through in their life. So this is like when I was there as well, is when we actually understand that there's something in the belief systems that we have to work through. There's something in our mental level that we have to work through. And we understand it, we know the concepts, we understand the laws, we see the different things, we even recognize patterns. But then when it actually comes to fully manifesting it into our lives, for example, you want to manifest, I don't know, an amazing new home or an amazing lifestyle choice. But when it actually comes to fully bringing that into this realm, it feels like there's something missing, and things keep being at an arm's reach, and you can't fully bring it all the way down. And very often it's that there's a feminine magnetism piece that is missing because you haven't fully activated your receptive gates. And so one of the things that I'm going to be talking a lot about is about this receptivity and how we can become more receptive without doing more, because a lot of the things that are missing are not about doing because you've done the things, right? Most of the things usually that are missing, and that, you know, are missing for most women who come to me with that kind of fractured relationship with their feminine or their empowered energy, is that yeah, there's that level of I now know how to trust, but like I don't need to do anything else more than what I've already been doing. It's mostly about undoing, it's about releasing, it's about relaxing, it's about understanding what are the actual pieces that are really moving your energy in such a way and positioning your energy in such a way that you actually become magnetic for the things that you really want. So this is going to be a very juicy class. I hope that you know, you'll leave inspired as heck, and you're going to be you know, implementing all the things. That I'll also be teaching some of the tools that I talk about in dance manifestation as well. So there's different courses that I have on my platform at the moment. You can go take a peek if you want to. But this course, like this class in and of itself, is going to be so high value. So I hope that, yeah, you feel super inspired about this. And I'm so excited to share all of this. And also, of course, if you have any questions, whether you're watching the replay or if you're watching it afterwards, feel free to drop them here. And I'll swing back around and see, you know, if I can, yeah, create more clarity for you. So, yeah, feel free to do that. So we're going to go through the 5 pillars of feminine magnetism and the power of feminine magnetism and what it actually entails. And so one of the major pieces, and this is like connected with this, the physical body aspect of the 5-body blueprint that I initially touched upon, is actually the state of being, right? It's who you are being every single day on a, you know, consistent basis. And the state of being is like one of the most magnetic pieces that we can bring down, because it actually ties everything together. It ties all of the bodies together. Like the physical body is the densest body out of all of them, obviously. And so it's also the body that is very subtle in terms of, yeah, like really moving the missing pieces into alignment. So say, for example, you've been working on your belief systems around money. You know, I love talking about money, so I'll always come back to money, but it could be with a relationship, it could be with something that you're trying to magnetize, it could be something else, right? But say, you know, you have understood everything around the concept of magnetizing money, of manifesting money, and you know that there's, you know, limiting beliefs that you have around money, and you even have understood that there's a pattern around money that you keep running into. You know, say, for example, you walk into a shop, you're going to buy something, and then suddenly you feel, you know, guilty either before you're about to purchase, or you're feeling guilty during the purchase or after the purchase, right? Like a buyer's remorse, for example. This is where the state of being is coming into play. If you've done all the belief system work and all the, you know, money block work and all this stuff, you know, on the mental level, but you're actually not fully integrating that into your state of being, it's almost like you're running, you know, you're running back and forth, and what it creates in your energy is that actually you're getting very close to what you know you can have, and then it kind of like catapults you right back into what it feels like gate 0. It's like you're coming straight out of the gates, and you know, you're coming back to point 0, and you don't know what is wrong, right? And there's nothing wrong. It's simply that very often the state of being that we are vibrating in is actually the state of being that's connected with our past experiences. So the guilt, for example, can be one of the pieces that, you know, it's actually active inside your state of being. So even though you're going to go and purchase something with the story that you're creating in your reality, with the story that there's something new coming through, and you're trusting that if your state of being doesn't match up with this, it's very difficult for more money to come through, right? Because it's the embodiment piece that is actually, not fully integrated. And so the state of being is one of the pieces that is super important in the dance manifestation process, because when you're actually dancing, this is when you're activating that state of being. And so when you're activating a very powerful state of being, in terms of really feeling the vibes, it's literally trickling through your body, and you know how to calibrate it and hold that state of being for more than 15 seconds or even 90 seconds, even if you can go all the way up to 3 minutes, right? That is the piece that really brings and draws in your desires to you, because the state of being really is the most powerful piece of the puzzle, if you will. And which is why dance manifestation is so powerful, because when you know how to modulate your state of being throughout the process of dance manifestation, it becomes very magnetic, right? And it's like, that's like one of the pieces of that physical body blueprint, right? Because the physical body blueprint is also what is the most closest to the third dimension. And this brings me to the next point, which is emotional intelligence. Like, emotional intelligence is about, understanding that you may be feeling guilty. You may be feeling the stuff coming up. You may be feeling the stuff coming up from the past that you've always felt. Emotional intelligence is when you can lead yourself through that trigger zone without, without backing down to the voices of your inner child, or the voices of, your wounded archetypes, without like dipping into, like allowing your energy to dip, right? Because when your emotional intelligence is strong, it actually backs your state of being, right? They go and combine together. This is super important. Emotional intelligence is not something that you activate at some point. It goes hand in hand with the state of being, and all the things that I'm going to be talking about is going to be, they are all interconnected. So it's not like you have one piece of the puzzle and then you activate this and then that's it, and then you have to work on another piece. It's like they congregate together, they go together, they line up together, and that lineup is really what becomes, your super pillar of strength, of feminine magnetism, because you're really anchoring all the pieces in, you're anchoring all the different blueprints in, so that they become a powerful alignment for your dreams to come true. And it's almost like it works like a magnet, hence why I call it feminine magnetism. So emotional intelligence really is the capacity of leading yourself through the guilt, for example, or through the shame, and understanding that there's something wanting to be integrated here, and you're holding space for that which is wanting to be integrated, right? For example, I'm coming back to this piece that I shared with you. It's like when you're actually experiencing the guilt while you're making that purchase, it's, holding space for your guilt without pushing it down, without ignoring it, without, trying to change it quickly because you think that it's going to mess up your vibe or your frequency of attraction, which is, one of the pieces that, it's like, if you watch some of my other videos, you'll understand that this is like one of the big rants that I have against the spiritual teachings, is that there is no such thing as actually feeling bad and messing up your manifestation. It doesn't exist. It's simply that your new manifestation, that new life that you're wanting to draw in, is wanting you to calibrate a piece of the puzzle from the past and really turn that into power. And I have a whole chapter on this in the Cosmic Goddess program as well, on how to turn pain into power and why it is important on the manifestation process. And there's lots of maps, like the women love the maps that I give them, because it's like even a universal creation map. And when you understand how to position yourself on the universal creation wheel, that, every time you're manifesting something new, there's a kind of death that occurs, which is, that alchemy process, right? That alchemy process, when you know how to hold space for that, it actually amplifies your emotional intelligence. Which brings me to the third point, and this is like one of the most exciting pieces on feminine magnetism and the power of feminine magnetism. It's coherence. Coherence really is where your divine feminine meets up with the divine masculine. It's where the body meets the soul. right? And the coherence aspect actually is the elevator. It's the magic elevator of your frequency. Because a lot of people sometimes come to me and they're like, Lizzie, how do I go from the third dimension into the fifth dimension? What do I have to do in order to activate the fifth dimension? Well, actually, you can't activate the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is just a natural process that occurs because you're actually inside the third dimension. You're moving into the fourth dimension with awareness, right? And because you're having that awareness, at some point when you're practicing these tools over and over, what occurs is coherence. There's coherence that occurs between what your body is feeling, right? The embodiment piece, the state of being is matching with the emotional intelligence, which then matches up with your belief system, with your visions, with the things that you're wanting to come, but that you're wanting to call in, right? And so that body, feeling, mind, energy coherence, what it creates, it actually strengthens your cosmic body, if you will, right? So coherence really is that awareness piece of the fourth dimension. And so I talk, in and out in all my programs about this, whether it's the Millionaire Goddess, the Goddess Mastermind, or the Cosmic Goddess, the Cosmic Mastery or the Cosmic Goddess program. I talk about the third and the fifth dimension in all of them, because you really, it's an embodiment level that is nurturing the other levels. It's not the other way around. It's not I'm in the third dimension stuck in my guilt and I'm like, I'm gonna meditate, I'm just gonna sit down and meditate and I'm gonna somewhat up my vibe. Well, that can work, but it's probably not going to work in a sustainable and in a long term and in a continuous way. It might give you a quick fix. It might give you a quick hit, right? It might give you even a quick hit of adrenaline and make you feel really good, but actually it's not going to solve the ultimate solution, because the ultimate solution really is about the embodiment piece, right? And so when you actually activate coherence on all levels, through different states of practice, through different states of exercises, through different states of being, and on a consistent basis, it actually, it creates that vibe that most of the time you're going to feel in that coherent state. And when you know how to modulate that, and this is one of the exciting things, is this is why women tell me that my programs literally change their lives, because they truly become the creators of their own energy, because they start to understand how to master this. They start to understand how to master their own energy, how to master the state of being that feeds into the emotional intelligence, that then feeds on to this coherence aspect, right? The coherence aspect is occurring most of the time on the mental body. It's what is your belief system. It's when a new story is being created, and you can actually conceptualize it, hold space for it, and let it trickle all the way back down into the physical body, right? And as you're letting it trickle down into the physical body as a powerful state of being, what occurs is there's like a shaking up in the universe that occurs. It starts to move and tremble. It's like the whole universe starts to rearrange things around you. And when you really master this third piece here, it is when you become so aware of the things that are coming your way. And not only are you aware that those things are coming towards you, you also know exactly what to do and how to position your energy so that you can hold space for it to stay. And that's the juiciest aspect. It's when women, begin hitting 5K months, they then move into 6K months, and it becomes their new normal, because they've actually implemented all the tools in such a way that, as I said before, the physical body starts to feed into the emotional body starts to feed into the mental body. And that is the most amazing piece, because that is when the fifth dimension starts to show up. It's when magic starts to appear. It's when pieces start to occur, and manifestations start to come in that were never possible in the third dimension only, right? Because you're making space for the unknown. And so that is what brings me to the fourth piece of, the fourth pillar of power of feminine magnetism, which is the electricity, right? It's the electric circuit. It's the electric current that is running through the whole cosmos. And not only do you understand that, it's conceptually there, you actually feel it in your body. It's when, you know, your heart, for example, really opens up when you're about to, you know, pay for something that feels really good and feels in alignment. And not only can you feel it the moment that you're paying for it, it actually creates a sustainability, and that sustainability is what continuously feeds that electric circuit that's running through the cosmos. And what this does, it actually is that, you know, what goes out and what comes back, it's in natural flow. It's that that feeling that what you are emitting is coming back to you as visions, and those visions that are coming back to you, you're actually literally translating them into new actions, and those new actions are in full coherence with what you're receiving from your soul blueprint, right? This is like the energetic body. Also it's the energy, right? It's the energetic circuit that then starts to come into being. And when we're really activating that energy body, what occurs is that there's like a level of soul that opens up, right? And that level of soul, truly what it is simply that you're leaning back into your feminine energy, into your feminine radiance. You're emitting that feminine glow, which, once again, this is not a concept. It's something that, you know, you have to practice over time, because, as I said before, the physical body needs to be able to hold space for the emotional body and integrate it. As that is then, you know, holding space for the mental body, and that's integrating it. The mental body is then opening up and holding space for the energetic body. And when that energetic body trickles through, you actually tap into the spiritual body. This is when, you know, you're actually going into the fifth pillar of feminine magnetism, when you're not only wishing for things to come true, you're literally commanding things into being with your desire, right? Because you understand that the desire that you're creating, it's not coming from lack anymore, right? Because you've actually enforced, you've integrated, you've softened the pieces that are, you know, that were hard before. You've it's like, it feels like alchemy, right? You're melding the things out of the different five body blueprint layers, and they're literally becoming, you know, pure magnetism through desire, right? Because you know that which you desire is already on your way to you. And when you know that which you desire is already on your way to you, and it's actually coming in, and you're seeing it coming through, you're seeing it appearing, it creates another level of states of being. And so it's like a continuous flow where you're literally allowing that soul blueprint. It's when, you know, things that you've been desiring actually are now occurring. You know how to hold space for them. You know how to open your energy field for it. You know how to receive it. You know how to keep it in your energetic field. And what then occurs is that it almost like feels like, oh my gosh, this is getting even better than I thought it could ever be, right? Because when you're activating a new state of being, guess what? You're not going to be activating a new state of being from, you know, the guilt and the shame and all of that stuff, because you've already integrated that, but you're actually calibrating to a new level, right? That is when the quantum leap occurs. And the commanding with desire really is that pillar of the fifth dimension activating naturally. It's an organic flow. And the thing is, again, I say and reiterate it, this is not something that you can activate like that. It has to organically flow. And truly, the power of feminine magnetism is that actually it builds on itself. It expands. It's actually tied to natural and organic growth. It's tied to natural and organic sustainability over long and long periods of time, just like feminine orgasmic capacities, right? Like our feminine body actually has a capacity of, you know, holding space for deep pleasure and opening pleasure, right? And when we have integrated all the pieces of pain, right, that are holding us back from fully experiencing that pleasure, once we've integrated that, things just start to flow, right? Because you're starting to tap into like higher levels of bliss, higher levels of pleasure. And guess what? There's no ceiling. There's no ceiling to your pleasure. There's no ceiling to your manifestations. There's no ceiling to your dreams coming true. There's no ceiling to your soul's highest purpose, because your soul's highest purpose is actually connected with that organic nature, right? So I hope this got you, super excited to implement this, especially the state of being, and especially, to really work on this, like really holding that frequency inside your physical body, understanding what does this, commanding with desire really feel like in my body? How can I hold space for that? Like, what parts of my body are actually feeling activated through this, right? And there's a high chance that there's also things that will come up that will be more of the trigger zone. But now you know how to walk yourself through the trigger zone, because you know that the trigger zone is simply, oh, here's a level that I'm integrating now, because my soul doesn't want to run away from this. My soul doesn't want to push this down. My soul wants to fully integrate it so I can fully open myself to higher levels of bliss, higher levels of pleasure, higher levels of, magnetizing money, magnetizing love, magnetizing aligned soulful partnerships and relationships, right? Because it like the feminine energy is tied with the organic effortlessness, easy, peaceful, serene nature of things in the world, in the cosmos at large, right? It's like literally commanding with an electric field that is always tied into the web of the cosmic body, and it's actually drawing it all the way back in, right? So the commanding with desire is really when you're tapping into your cosmic body. It's when you're tapping into that elevated spiritual body where your soul is coming through, because you're becoming the creator, right? And it doesn't only, it's not out of substance. It's not this power without substance. It's actually natural power. It's natural magnetism. It's so much easier than trying to do something, right? Or pretending to be and doing things. It's very different from that. So if you're curious about this, and if you want to, explore this deeper, ask me questions about my programs. Write me a message if there's a program that is calling you more, or if you have questions about which one you should start with, because truly, like, women, when they come to me, like, some of them really want to go straight into the money attraction piece. Others really want to explore the dance manifestation piece. Others really want to understand what is it that is actually toxic in my energy at the moment. What is toxic in my field? How can I recognize the toxicity, and how can I heal and integrate this? And others literally just want to go boom shebang and have the whole thing, right? But there's different levels, and some of you might be feeling called to one program more than the other, and I understand that it's exciting to start with one of them. So if you need help finding which one is the better one for you, or is more suitable for you, feel free to ask your questions in the comments. There's some women who actually have been through the programs already, so if you see anyone asking a question about the program, feel free to chime in, what you feel, what you sense, and what your experiences have been with these programs, because truly, like, it's been amazing to see women catapult into huge levels of success, because it's like the most natural thing for them, right? And it's like, you could be tying this with business, you could be tying this in with the relationship, you could be tying this in with a new level of creativity that you want to draw in. It doesn't matter, because when you actually align your energetic piece, and a third pillar that I shared about, the coherence aspect, anything that you're really wanting to weave on and work on, it's like you're going to be like a spider weaving your web exactly that, in that way, right? And that is the piece that you've come here with, right? You could be coming in here with with the soul mission of drawing in more communication, with women, of sharing your message. You could be coming in with, creating a high level of family life. You could be coming in with, creating, I don't know, like a world trip, whatever it is that you're looking to create. There's a way of calling this in with your feminine magnetism, and it's probably the way it's going to work for you is going to be slightly different from every single woman, because we're all unique, right? But this, like, these teachings, they are so flexible and bendy, because we all have a body, we all have emotions, we all have thoughts, we all have energy, we all are intuitively gifted women, and it's such a pleasure to see women go through this and realize, oh my gosh, like this is feeling so easy. Oh my gosh, like now I'm drawing in this dream and this is what I've always wanted and it feels even better than I thought it was going to be, right? It's like because you're tapping into this. So I'm sending you so much love. Enjoy your day wherever you are. I'm so excited about this. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Mwah! See you.